This is our Pilot RC Sbach 107-inch 342. It's got a DA120 in it, KS95 canisters. It's running a Meslick 28 by 12 propeller. It's a pretty simple setup on this one. I'll just show you around. We've had a few questions about it. A few people might want to know a few things about it. This particular model runs with a one servo on each surface. They're all high quality servos, all Futaba 9157s. I'll just lift the lid and give you a quick look inside. This is a pretty basic setup on this model. There's nothing too extreme in it at all. As you'll notice, we're just running a receiver, unregulated, with Fromco lithium phosphate batteries. These are the A123 style. We run 2 packs, 2 separate switches, both going into the receiver. It's a Futaba 14-channel receiver. Which one goes to the battery, one battery goes to the battery port, the other battery goes to any other spare port you have on the receiver. This system works quite fine, gives you a bit of redundancy on here. As you can see, we're running one Futaba 9157 on the rudder with a offset arm because we're running cross cables. We're running SWB wide tensioner kits for keeping the cables in tension. These little turnbuckles make it nice and easy for keeping everything organised. A little bit further up the plane, we're running a 40-ounce tank. We put a Jubro tank in this one and run 40 ounce. Running the 120, we thought we might need a little bit more fuel. Up the front there you have the ignition in the middle, the right hand side is the ignition battery, and the left's the throttle servo. It's a pretty straightforward setup on that. Moving around the front, lift the cowl off. You'll see we have the 120 firmly entrenched in the front there. This was a prototype 120 we played around with in early before the production models came out. We set this model particularly up. We didn't use the Pilot RC aluminium brackets for mounting the firewall on. We elected to glue the firewall. We glued the firewall in with tri-stock at the rear, and there's some birch dowels up the side here to pin it. We run 0 thrust up and down, and also 0 right and left, and we run a 2.5 degree offset SWB mount. You'll notice the rubber grommets off the outside here to protect the leads. You want to stop your ignition leads moving around as much as you can if you can help it. You'll notice on this side we have a little plastic clip which keeps them in place. These are essential, they're a good idea. Also notice the front of the engine we have some baffling. Try and direct the air on top. Around the front of the motor on the Sbach, you'll notice that we blocked off the front area there, so the only air going into the engine goes in via the front, exits out from a large hole underneath where the canisters come out the bottom here. These are KS95s, slightly bigger than they normally run, but we're pretty pleased with the outcome. On the front here, you'll notice we have it's a Seacraft fuel dot. We didn't use the Pilot one, we kind of preferred this one rather than the screw-in type. That was one of the few changes we made. Moving up over to the stabs, as I said, we're running 1 servo per surface. We're running 1.5-inch Seacraft arms on this version, which you'll see on there, with the standard ball links and turnbuckle. And if you have a look at the 2 horns that's supplied by the Pilot kit, these are good quality. You can get extra travel if you require by moving up and down in the holes. We found 1.5 inches give us pretty good 3D throws without being too excessive. On the wing, there's 3 bays to be able to mount your servo in if you elect to go for 1 servo or whether you wish to go for 2 servos. We picked the middle bay for the single servo setup. Again, a Seacraft servo arm, 1.5 inches, with the standard turnbuckles that were supplied.